திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். புழியர்கோன் பொழித்த புகழியர்கோன் கடல் போற்றி. ஆழிமிசை கல்முதப்பில் அணைந்த பிரான் அடி போற்றி. வாழி திரு நாவலூர் வன் தொண்டர் பதம் போற்றி. ஊழிமலி திருவாத ஊரர் திருத்தாள் போற்றி. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். So we have been continuing our discussion of thirunAvukkarasar, and we have been looking at the fourth verse in this padhigam, 7.39, and the fourth verse we have started discussing thirunAvukkarasar life history, and we have covered about half of it in the last session. So today we are going to continue this story further, but as we have been doing in the first few minutes, let's take let's go around the call and have each one of you recite one verse what you have seen so far. So who wants to go first for the first verse? See, nobody wants to volunteer.
I can volunteer.
Or are you on mute? Are you on mute? Yeah, go ahead.
Shall I?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. tillai-vāḻ andaṇar தம் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், திருநீலகண்டத்து கூயவனார்க்கு அடியேன், இல்லையே என்னாத இயற்பகைக்கும் அடியேன், இளையான் தன் குடிமாறன் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், வெல்லுமா மிக வல்ல மெய்ப்பொருள்க்கும் அடியேன், விருப்பொழில் சூழ் குன்றையார் விரண்மிண்டற்கடியேன், அல்லிமென் முல்லை அந்தார் அமர்நீதிக்கு அடியேன், ஆரூரன் ஆரூரில் அம்மானுக்கு ஆளே.
Very good, very good. Excellent. And we will have Murthy go with the second verse.
இலை மலிந்தவேல் நம்பி எரி பத்தர்க்கு அடியேன், ஏனாதிநாதன் தன் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், கைலா மலிந்த கலை மலிந்த சீர் நம்பி கண்ணப்பர்க்கு அடியேன், கடவுரில் கலையன் தன் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், மலை மலிந்த தோல் வள்ளல் மான கஞ்சாரன் எஞ்சாத வாட்டாயன் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், அலை மலிந்த புனல் மங்கை அணையார்க்கு அடியேன், ஆரூரன் ஆரூரில் அம்மானுக்கு ஆளே.
Very good. Now we will go to Madhuri for the third verse.
Okay. மும்மையால் உலகு ஆண்ட மூர்த்திக்கும் அடியேன், முருகனுக்கும் உருத்திர பசுபதிக்கும் அடியேன், செம்மையே திருநாளை போவார்க்கும் அடியேன், திருக்குறிப்பு தொண்டர்தம் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், மெய்யையே திருமேனி வழிபடா நிற்க வெகுண்டு எழுந்த தாதைத்தால் மழுவினால் எறிந்த அம்மையான் அடிச்சண்டி பெருமானுக்கு அடியேன், ஆரூரன் ஆரூரில் அம்மானுக்கு ஆளே.
Very good. Now Chakravarti for the fourth verse.
Yeah. திருநின்ற செம்மையே செம்மையாக் கொண்ட திருநாவுக்கு அறையேன் தன் அடையார்க்கும் அடியேன், பெருநம்பி குலச்சிறைத்தன் அடியார்க்கும் மடியேன், பெரு மிரிலைக் புறம்பக்கும் பெயார்க்கும் அடியேன், ஒரு நம்பி அப்பூரி அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், ஒலி புனல் சூழ் சாத்தமங்கை நீல நக்கருக்கு அடியேன், அருநம்பி நம்பி அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், அரூரன் ஆரூரில் அம்மானுக்கு ஆளு.
Good effort. Again, as you go along, as you listen to the songs audio version, and then as you follow along, you'll be able to get the names better next time. Yeah, very good. So glad, I'm glad that you are all making the effort to say these things and pronounce these things. That is excellent. So last session we had met, we were going through the life history of thirunAvukkarasar, and as he is one of the four acharyas, we have a lot of information about his life, and we have a lot of songs. We have about more than 3,000 songs, roughly about 300 plus padhigams, 312 or 311, that many padhigams we have. So there are more than 3,000 songs of thirunAvukkarasar. So we have a lot of information in his songs, and we have a lot of information that has been gathered by the people and documented by Sekar. So in Sekar, in Periya Puranam, he has described thirunAvukkarasar's life story in more than 400 verses. Something like 425 or 426. I don't remember the exact number, but more than 400 verses. So last week when we met, we had seen his life all the way till he comes to Sirgari and meets Thirunjana Sambandar, and Thirunjana Sambandar calls him, "O Father," and that's how thirunAvukkarasar also gets the name Upper, and that's how we refer to him usually as thirunAvukkarasar, but also frequently as Upper. So thirunAvukkarasar and Sambandar, they spend some time together in Sirgari, and then thirunAvukkarasar takes leave from Thirunjana Sambandar and continues on his Kshetradhanam. He goes to other temple towns. So, as you may know, especially if you have been to the Kaveri region, Delta region, it's a very fertile land, and the Chola kingdom was based in the Kaveri Delta, and so for thousands of years they have had that kingdoms, and they have had a very rich economy at the time. So they have built a lot of temples. So in the Kaveri Delta there are hundreds of temples, old temples. So thirunAvukkarasar goes around those villages and visiting different temples, and then comes to Kumbakonam, and worships in Kumbakonam, and then goes further to other temples around Kumbakonam. And there is a place called Pattisaram near Kumbakonam. Some of you may have heard about that. The Durga Sannidhi in Pattisaram is very famous. A lot of people visit that. And near Pattisaram, about half a kilometer or maybe a kilometer away, less than a kilometer, I would say, but 3/4 of a kilometer away, there is another temple called Shaktimutram. So thirunAvukkarasar goes to that temple, Shaktimutram, and as he was praying in the temple, thirunAvukkarasar suddenly, he has had that desire that he wanted Shiva's padhigam, like he wants Shiva to place his holy feet on thirunAvukkarasar's head. That was his desire. So he prays to Shiva in Shaktimutram, "O Shiva, please place your holy feet on my head and accept me as your devotee," etc. So then Shiva tells thirunAvukkarasar, "Come to Tirunallur, we will do it there." So Tirunallur is another kshetram, let's say 10 kilometers or so from Tiruchattimutram. So thirunAvukkarasar goes to that kshetram, Tirunallur, and that is a very wonderful kshetram, Tirunallur. The temple there, is what is one of the Mada Kovil. In temples architecture, there are different types of architectures, and in the Chola kingdom, there are a bunch of temples at Kochangat Cholan has built, which are elevated temples, where the Swami Sannidhi will be like what, and the next higher upper level. So you have to climb 10 steps, 20 steps, 30 steps, depending upon the temple. You have to climb up 20, 30 steps to go to the Swami Sannidhi area. So that kind of a temple is known as Madakovil. And Thirunallur is one such Madakovil. And the interesting thing in Thirunallur temple is that the Swami, the Svalingam, changes color during the day. So in the morning it will be in one shade, and in the afternoon it will be in another shade, and in the evening it will be in another shade, that kind of thing. And I have been to the temple, and it's a very nice temple. So thirunAvukkarasar goes to the temple, and again he, as soon as he went there and he worships Shiva there, Shiva appears and places his holy feet on thirunAvukkarasar's head. And thirunAvukkarasar, obviously, when Shiva places his holy foot on your head, you can imagine what kind of experience one will get and what kind of happiness one will get. And he sings a very wonderful padhigam in that place. Ninaindurugam Adiyarai Naya Vaitar is the beginning phrase of the padhigam. He sings that padhigam, and then he stays there for some time, and then he continues his pilgrimage. He goes to other towns and other villages, other temples. He continues on his pilgrimage tour. And as he came along, there is about 40 kilometers from Kumbakonam. If you come along the Kaveri banks, upstream, right? The Kaveri flows west to east in Kaveri Delta region in Tamil Nadu. So as he was going west along the Kaveri river upstream, there is a place called Tiruvayar. It's a very big temple and very famous place. And this is where Tyagaraja lived for a long time, the Carnatic music composer, Tyagaraja Swami. So every year they do the Tyagaraja Aradhana in Tiruvayar. You would have seen that in TV or elsewhere. Anyway, so next to the Tiruvayar town is a place called Tingalur. And thirunAvukkarasar, as he was traveling along, walking along, he came to this Tingalur area. And, they were along the roadside, they had, in Tamil we call it Tannir Pandal, where they have this rest area kind of thing, where the people will be giving water and buttermilk and those kind of things to the travelers. So you know how it is, right? It's very hot climate there. So as people are going from one town to another, there will be free food or free water, those kind of things. So there was a stall giving free water and free buttermilk and all those kind of things. And he comes there and he was thirsty, so he also gets the buttermilk or whatever. And as he was looking around, he finds the name of the place is written as thirunAvukkarasar water stall. Then he says, he has never been to this place. So, but he is wondering, who has put this word thirunAvukkarasar water stall? So then he asked the volunteer or the servant who is working in that place, giving water and buttermilk and all that. So he's asking, who runs this place? Then that employee says, sir, there is a person called Appudi, and he is a Brahmin, and he is the one who is running this service. And he just left about 15 minutes ago or something, and he lives in the village there. And if you go this way, he gives directions to Appudi Adigal's house. So thirunAvukkarasar goes to the village, goes inside the village, and goes to the Appudi Adigal's house. And then, as soon as Appudi Adigal saw Shiva devotee, with a lot of Rudraksham and Basmam and all that, somebody standing outside his house. So he comes outside and welcomes him and says, oh sir, I'm honored to have you come here, like any devotee, right? Like that's how they will do upacharam, like to a devotee. So then thirunAvukkarasar asks him, I was walking along and I saw this free service that you have got, the water stall in the highway area, and I saw that, I asked them, your name, they said you are so and so, but I found that, instead of keeping your name on the stall, you have given some other name on the stall. What is the reason? And Appu the Adigal got very angry immediately, because he thought that he was a Shiva devotee who has come to him, and then but he is saying, you have given some other name to your stall. Why? So Appu the Adigal gets very upset. He says, you look like a Shiva devotee. How can you not know thirunAvukkarasar's name? Don't you know that he was such a great saint and who was saved by Shiva from the deep seas by making the stone float? Such a great devotee, how come you don't know his name? And how come you say that it is some other name? Who are you? Basically, Appu the Adigal does not know this is thirunAvukkarasar, right? It is those days, right? 1500 years ago. So Appu the Adigal does not know that who has come to his house is thirunAvukkarasar. And Appu the Adigal thought that he was a normal devotee, and then the moment he heard that, why did he give some other name? He got so upset. How can somebody refer to thirunAvukkarasar's name as some other name? So he gets very wild and he speaks very, he gets upset and says, who are you? You don't even know thirunAvukkarasar's name. Who are you? Then thirunAvukkarasar says, tells him that it is him, right? So he says, I am that foolish person who went to Jainism and who got celiac disease and that kind of thing. He gives that part. He doesn't say that he is thirunAvukkarasar, but he says, I am the foolish person who went to Jainism and came back. That's when Appu the Adigal realizes that thirunAvukkarasar has come, because Appu the Adigal has never seen thirunAvukkarasar in his life. But the news of thirunAvukkarasar surviving all these punishments by the king and becoming a great devotee and singing praises and reviving Saivism, he had heard of all that, and he had taken him as his Manasika Guru. Like he has mentally has taken thirunAvukkarasar as his Guru, and so that's why even the services, all the dana dharmam he was doing all on thirunAvukkarasar's name. And then he was so happy, then he apologizes and falls at his feet again, and then invites him to come inside, and then requests him that he should eat at his place that day. And thirunAvukkarasar agrees, and so thirunAvukkarasar says, okay, we had to go and take care of go to the river, take the bath, and go to the temple, do all that, and come back, right? So he said, I will come back in another couple of hours. And so Appu the Adigal there, obviously made a great meal, a feast, and one of his sons, right? He asked him to, his wife asked her oldest son to go to the backyard and bring fresh banana leaf, so that they can use that as for serving food to thirunAvukkarasar. And you know how they take the banana leaf, right? When you go to the banana plant, banana tree, there will be leaves that are already open, and there are tender leaves that are like a rolled up tender leaves that won't have spread out yet. That will be very soft, very nice, and very clean. So he asked him to go and get a good tender leaf. So the eldest son, I don't know what age he was. Maybe he was 10, whatever, you can imagine, right? 9 years, whatever, maybe 7 years, maybe 8 years, whatever. So he runs back to the backyard, and he goes and cuts the tender, chooses the right leaf and cuts it. And then as he was doing it, he must have stepped on a cobra or something, and so the cobra bites him. And he looks at it, he realizes that it is a cobra that has bitten him. And so he immediately runs home, back into the house, gives the banana leaf to his mother, and falls down fainting. His mother looks at him, and she can see him frothing at the mouth, and she can see the snake bite marks, the change in color in his body, all that she can see, and she realizes this has happened. And snake bites in those days, cobra bites, you're gone. There's no cure immediately. And so she calls her husband, Apujadigal. They come, they look at it, and they say, what to do. thirunAvukkarasar is going to come back, and they are hoping to feed him, but the son has died. So what do we do now? So they both decide that they will hide the fact that her son has died. Say they roll him up in a mat and put him in a corner in the back. They come back into the house, continue their preparation for the lunch as if nothing had happened. So after some time, thirunAvukkarasar comes back. They are all, they place the banana leaf, and he sits down, and Apujadigal sits down. They are all ready to start the lunch part. Then thirunAvukkarasar gives everybody does namaskaram, and he gives them holy ash. Right? That's when you see a saint, the saint will give you basma. So he gives holy ash to Apujadigal, he gives holy ash to his wife, he gives holy ash to their other children. Then thirunAvukkarasar says, because he had seen the kids before, right? Before in the morning. So he says, where is the oldest son? Call him. I'll give him vibhuti for him too. Then they tell him that he can't come now, right now. They don't say that he is dead. They just say he can't come now. And thirunAvukkarasar suddenly feels something in his mind. Intuition, right? Suddenly he feels that something is there. There's something more here. So then he asks them, "Tell me the truth. Where is he?" Then, since thirunAvukkarasar says, "Tell me the truth," they could no longer hide the fact. So they tell him what happened, that the son has been bitten by a cobra and he is dead. And thirunAvukkarasar was, words cannot express what he would have thought, right? How can there be somebody whose oldest son has just died, and they are acting as if nothing has happened, and they are trying to feed him? So he takes that, he asks them to bring the body, and he places the body outside the local temple. The temple is called Periya Puranam. Places the body outside the temple, and then he sings one padhigam. Undrugolam starts, that is the starting phrase. It is the 18th padhigam in the 4th volume. And as soon as he finishes the padhigam, with Shiva's grace, the boy wakes up, comes back to life and gets up. So you can imagine how happy the parents would be. The dead son has come back to life. So they were all overjoyed, and they all come back to their house, and then the lunch happens after that. Delayed lunch happens, and then thirunAvukkarasar stays there for some time in that town, in that place for a few days, and then thirunAvukkarasar takes leave from them and continues on his pilgrimage. Then he goes to different towns, villages, temples, and then comes to Tiruppugalur. So Tiruppugalur is a famous Shiva temple, big temple. It is about somewhere near Thiruvarur area. And when he was there, it so happened that Thiruñāna Sambandar was also on a pilgrimage tour, and he had also come to that place. So they both meet again in Tiruppugalur. And then Thiruñāna Sambandar wanted to go on temple visits along with thirunAvukkarasar. So they wanted to go. They start going, and Thirunjana Sambandar, we will see that later in when we see his story. Thirunjana Sambandar always used to go in a palanquin, right? Pallak in Tamil. So he will always be carried on the palanquin, because Shiva had given him the palanquin, and that's how he used to go from place to place. But when he was going with thirunAvukkarasar, Thirunjana Sambandar did not want to go in the palanquin. So Thirunjana Sambandar would walk along with thirunAvukkarasar. But thirunAvukkarasar felt that Shiva had given the palanquin to Thirunjana Sambandar, so Thirunjana Sambandar should come in the palanquin. So they asked him to go back to the palanquin, and then Thirunjana Sambandar didn't want to do that, so they come to they worked out a method. So thirunAvukkarasar will go first, and Thirunjana Sambandar will come after some time in his palanquin behind him. Like that, if you are going from point A to point B, thirunAvukkarasar will go today. Thirunjana Sambandar will start tomorrow and come to that place next day. That kind of arrangement. So they will do the pilgrimage tour together, but Thirunjana Sambandar will always be coming after some time in his palanquin. That kind of agreement they did. So they went, visited different temples together, and they came to a place called the Tiruvizhimalai. This is a very big temple, and it is also in the Tiruvarur region. And they both came and stayed in the Tiruvizhimalai for some time. See, when the saints go on pilgrimages, they don't go see some temple and then get on the road, go to the next temple in the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They don't do that. First they were going by walk or whatever, mostly walking, and they had an entourage. They had other devotees, and they had the cooks, and they had a whole team. So they would go make a camp in some pilgrim center, stay there for several days at least, worship, and then they go to the next place. That's how they used to do. So they came to Tiruvizhimalai, and they stayed in Tiruvizhimalai for some time. And they had different dharmasthalas, right? They have chowltrees, chatrams, right? All these places are satrams, and so Thirunjana Sambandar stayed in one place, and thirunAvukkarasar and his team stayed in another place. And they were staying there and for a few weeks, maybe a month. And in that time, a major famine happened, right? So there was a famine, and people were suffering, because when you know what happens when there's a famine, right? Supply comes down, demand stays the same, but supply comes down. So if the supply is less and demand is more, prices go up. That's a typical basic economics. So the prices go up, people find it difficult to afford, people can't eat, they were suffering. So at that time, Shiva appeared in the dreams of Thirunjana Sambandar and thirunAvukkarasar, and in that dream he told them that you will not suffer in this famine period, but still to ensure that all your devotees are fed and taken care, from tomorrow onwards we will give each of you a gold coin in the temple. So they both wake up, next day morning they both go to the temple together, and in the temple there is a balipedam, right? If you have been to the temple, there is a dvajastambam, and near the dvajastambam there is a balipedam. So in Tiruvizhimalai there are multiple balipedams. So so in the eastern part of the temple, in the balipedam, gold coin was found. One of them took it, and in the western part there was another balipedam where another gold coin was found, and the other person had it. So they both gave the gold coins to the devotees. They would go to the market, buy stuff, bring, cook, and then feed their group, as well as they will feed other devotees, not just the local one, their own group, but any devotee they will invite for the lunch, that kind of thing. So they did that, and helping the local people, local devotees as well. And then, the interesting thing happened was that thirunAvukkarasar got when they feel, let's say they serve lunch at, let's say, 12 o'clock. The Thirunjana Sambandha's folks realized that thirunAvukkarasar at thirunAvukkarasar's place they were serving lunch at 12, but at Thirunjana Sambandhar's place they were serving lunch only at 1:30 or something. So Thirunjana Sambandhar called his cooking staff people and asked them, you guys, what happened here? Why is it our lunch time is delayed? What is going on? So they told him that, sir, we don't know, but when we go to the market with the coin that you give us, the shopkeepers say that there is some issue with this coin, so we have to go to different people to evaluate the quality of the coin, and then they say that it's an inferior coin, so they have to work out the discount that they have to apply, and then all this process takes extra time. That's why it takes more time for us to bring the food stuff from the market to the matam. So that's why lunch is delayed. So Sambandhar is curious, what's going on here? Why is Shiva giving different quality coins to us? So then he goes and sings, and Shiva gives him good coin from next day onwards. But the bottom line is that the clarification that Periya Puranam says is that thirunAvukkarasar got high quality coin because he was doing service to the Lord, physical service, so he was getting good quality coin. Whereas Sambandhar, he was more like a child of Shiva, so he was getting more like an allowance. So Shiva was giving him, to highlight the fact that, thirunAvukkarasar's service, quality service, and that kind of, it's a wage and this is an allowance. So that kind of a subtle difference he was highlighting in this Leela. Anyway, that's a different story, but then they both go to a place called Vedaranyam. Vedaranyam is on the coast, and the temple is a big temple, and the tradition or the legend is that the Vedas had worshipped Shiva in the temple. That's why it's called Vedaranyam. And when they both went, they found out that the temple main door was always locked. People were always going by the side entrance. And when they asked the people, they told them that the Vedas had worshipped here and they had locked the front door. So the front door has remained locked for ever. None of us have ever used the front door. It's always remains locked. No, we don't know. For many generations, this is all we know. Nobody has ever opened the front door. And then Thirunjana Sambandhar and thirunAvukkarasar were thinking about it. Thirunjana Sambandhar felt that they should enter the temple through the main door. So Thirunjana Sambandhar looked at thirunAvukkarasar and said, Appare, please sing a padhigam so that we can have Shiva open the main door and we can go through the main door. So thirunAvukkarasar accordingly starts singing a padhigam. And he keeps singing and singing and singing. He has sung 10 songs and still the door was still locked. So finally, in the final song he says, "Oh Shiva, do you not have any pity on me? How can you do this?" And at that time, the door opens automatically and everybody is so thrilled. So thirunAvukkarasar, Thirunjana Sambandhar, and then followed by their devotees, they all go through the main door into the temple and worship Shiva. And after they worship, they come out And then now thirunAvukkarasar looked at Sambandar and said, "Oh Sambandar, please sing a padhigam so that we can close the door. That way people will be able to open and close the door on a daily basis so that everybody can go through the main door." So Sambandar agreed and started singing a padhigam. And as soon as he sang the first verse of the padhigam, the doors closed. And then, he finishes the padhigam, they all go back to their respective places where they were staying. Remember, they both go together on pilgrimage tour, but each had their own group of devotees, and they were staying in separate satrams. So they were staying in separate places. So thirunAvukkarasar, that night, he was thinking about what happened during the day, and he said, to open the door, I had to sing 11 songs. And only then Shiva opened the door. Whereas to close the door, Sambandar sang one song and immediately the doors closed. How great Sambandar is, and how many more births do they have to take to reach that kind of a level. That's why he was thinking that how great Sambandar was and how inferior he was compared to him. And when he was thinking, and he kept thinking about this, and suddenly Shiva appeared in a form in front of thirunAvukkarasar, and thirunAvukkarasar was happy to see Shiva appearing there. But Shiva said, "Come to Thiruvāimur." So in the night, Shiva, form of Shiva, kept going in the front. thirunAvukkarasar kept running after that form in the middle of the night. And by morning or whatever, he reached Thiruvāimur. And as soon as he reached Thiruvāimur, Shiva disappeared. And he could not have vision of Shiva anymore. So he was wondering what is going on, why is Shiva hiding himself. But in the next day morning, some other woke up and found out that thirunAvukkarasar had left in the night to go to Thiruvāimur. So Thirunjana Sambandar with his entourage comes to Thiruvāimur, and then Thirunjana Sambandar sings a padhigam, and Shiva appears, and then Thirunjana Sambandar shows Shiva to thirunAvukkarasar. So thirunAvukkarasar also sees Shiva at that time, so he was so thrilled. And then they both come back to Vedaranyam. Then when they were there, Pandya king had, the Pandya king's queen and her minister, they both sent some messengers requesting Thirunjana Sambandar to come to Madurai to get rid of the giants. Then, so Thirunjana Sambandar was ready to go to Madurai immediately. But thirunAvukkarasar felt very protective about Thirunjana Sambandar and said that, "Oh son, giants can be very cruel, very wicked. I have gone through that in my own personal experience. So, and also the times are not good. The planetary positions are not good, conducive right now. So I will not allow you to. I will not agree that you should go to Madurai. You should not go now." Then Thirunjana Sambandar tells thirunAvukkarasar, "Appare, don't worry. Shiva and Parvati are in my heart at all times. And when Shiva and Parvati are in the heart at all times, no harm will come." And then he sings this padhigam called Kolaru Padhigam. I may have mentioned it, and some of you may have heard this, Veyuru Tholi Pangan. This is a very powerful padhigam that Thirunjana Sambandar sings at the time. And in that message in that padhigam is that so long as Shiva is in one's heart, the Navagrahas will not give trouble, the natural elements will not give trouble, the animals will not give trouble, all kinds of things that can, no disease will give trouble. So all kinds of things that can give us difficulties, all those things will only do good to the devotee. That's the gist of that padhigam. And after he sang that padhigam, thirunAvukkarasar sort of agrees and says, still, he didn't want him to go alone, so he says, I will also come with you. Then Tirunjana Samadar stops thirunAvukkarasar. Appare, you stay in Chola kingdom, I will go to Pandya kingdom. So then thirunAvukkarasar will not say anything anymore. So Tirunjana Samadar goes to Madurai. thirunAvukkarasar continues his pilgrimage to other temples. And then thirunAvukkarasar goes around. As he was going, he comes to a place called, again another place called, near Kumbakonam. He comes to a place called Pazhayarai. And as he came to Pazhayarai, he automatically, instinctively lifted his arms and worshipped some temple there. But he looked closer, and that is not a temple. That is a Jain place. thirunAvukkarasar was wondering, why am I worshipping this Jain place? Then he talked to the local people, and the local people told him that this used to be a Shiva temple, but the Jains had come and occupied and removed this, and they made it their place. So thirunAvukkarasar says, how can they do this? So he says that I must go in and worship Shiva here. Until that time, I will not eat. So he sits in outside that place, and he resolves to not eat till he can go in and worship. And he sits there worshipping Shiva mentally. That night, the Chola king, the local Chola king, gets a dream, and he was directed to come to this place and recover this temple back to, from the Jain's hands. So the next day morning, the Chola king comes there and discovers that the Jains had occupied this place, and then he gets rid of them, removes them, and recovers the temple and hands it over to Shiva devotees for their worship. So that is an event that occurred in Pazhayarai near Kumbakonam. So as I was thinking about this, we often think about the fact that, in India's independence movement, Mahatma Gandhi used to go on many fasts, right? And the first person who went on a fast to achieve a goal was thirunAvukkarasar. And then he goes into the temple and worships, and then he continues on his pilgrimage. He goes further west along the Kaveri river banks, and then he goes to various temples, and then he comes back. As he was coming back, then he wanted to go see Kailasam. Like people these days, they want to go on a Kailasa Yatra, and then they get onto a plane, they go to Kathmandu, or they fly into Lhasa, they take a bus, they take a helicopter, they go, and then they go do the Kailasa Yatra, and they go around the holy hill and do all that in these days. But in those days, if you have to go to Kailasam, you have to walk. So thirunAvukkarasar walked all the way. He went to Kalahasti, then he walked further north. He whatever pilgrimage routes they will take in those days, he was taking those routes and seeing various temples on the way. He went to Sri Sailam, he went to Kashi, and from Kashi, he whatever devotees who were some devotees would have accompanied him, right, all the way up to Kashi. So he told them that you go back, because he wanted to go to Mount Kailasa. So he walked on his own, alone. He was, as you recall from the last time we were describing, thirunAvukkarasar was already old, maybe in his 60s, when he came back to Shaivam from Jainam. So he was probably mid-70s when this was happening. He was climbing on the Himalayan hills, right? So he was climbing and climbing, and how much can you climb in those old age? So at some point in time, his legs could not climb anymore. He became weak. So he was crawling on the ground. And at some point in time, he could even crawl anymore. So he was lying there at some place. Then Shiva appeared as a sage and asked thirunAvukkarasar, "No, oh old man, where are you going?" So thirunAvukkarasar says, "No, I want to see Kailasam, so I am going to see that." And that sage says, "No, with this human body, you cannot go see Kailasam. Go back. That's all you should do. You should go back. You cannot go any further." Then thirunAvukkarasar replies, "This body is anyway going to perish. So I am not worried about this body perishing away. So whatever happens, I am not going back. I will go. Only without seeing Kailasam, I am not going back." Then the sage vanishes. Shiva tells in a heavenly voice, "O thirunAvukkarasar, take a dip in the pond nearby, and I will show you Kailasam darshanam." So thirunAvukkarasar takes a dip in the pond somewhere in the Himalayan mountain range, and then he gets out from the pond and he finds that he is in Thiruvayar temple tank, and all his body, right, his worn out body, right, with all those wounds by crawling on the ground and all that, right, they are all gone. He has got a nice perfect body now again. And from that place itself, Shiva gives him the divine vision of Kailasam. So he sees Kailasam and he sees everything, and he sings wonderful padhigams from there. He sings several poetry tiruttoṇḍagams, and he sings, then he looks around, and whatever he sees, everything he sees in pairs, a bull and a cow, a male and female of a cock and a hen, like that. Everything he sees in pairs as male and female. All the animals, all the birds, everything he sees like that in pairs, as male and female. And in everything, he was seeing Shivam and Shakti. So he sings a wonderful padhigam called the Madar Pirai Kanniyanai. And then, he was in Thiruvayar, he stayed for some time, he was singing many padhigams, and then, he was staying in the place near Thiruvayar, a place called Tiruppunduruthi. And in Tiruppunduruthi, when he had a place, he was staying there for a long time, and that's when Thirunjana Samadar comes back. Thirunjana Samadar went to Madurai after defeating the giants in the dispute, in the arguments and the disputations, and establishing Saivam again. Thirunjana Samadar was returning back to Chola kingdom. He comes to Tiruppunduruthi, and as soon as he entered Tiruppunduruthi, he peeked from his palanquin and asked the people around, where is the place thirunAvukkarasar is staying. And then one of the palanquin carriers, right, he says, "I'm here, sir." It so happened that thirunAvukkarasar somehow mingled with the crowd without anybody noticing it, and he became one of the people who was carrying Thirunjana Samadar's palanquin. So Thirunjana Samadar suddenly realizes that thirunAvukkarasar has been carrying him for some time now. So he jumps out from the palanquin and falls at thirunAvukkarasar's feet. thirunAvukkarasar falls at Thirunjana Samadar's feet, and then they hug each other, and then thirunAvukkarasar asks him all the things about what happened in Madurai, and Thirunjana Samadar tells him what happened in Madurai. And then thirunAvukkarasar wanted to go to see Madurai, so thirunAvukkarasar goes to Madurai, sees the Madurai kingdom, the temples in Pandya kingdom, and then he comes back to Chola kingdom, he comes back to Tiruppagalur, and in Tiruppagalur he stays for some time worshipping Shiva, singing padhigams, and by the time he was something like 81 years old. So he feels that the time has come for him to merge with Shiva. He could feel that, and then he sings one padhigam, Yennugayen en solli Yennugayeno. And after he finishes in the thing, he says, Punniya unnadike podugindren Pumbugalur meviya punniyane. So he says, "Oh Shiva, I am coming to your lotus feet. Please take me." And at the end of the padhigam, he literally merges in Shiva of Tiruppagalur. And that brings his life on this earth to an end. So this is the gist of thirunAvukkarasar's life story. He's, as I said, he has done something amazing. He was singing thevaram even before Thirunjana Sambandar was singing thevaram. So between thirunAvukkarasar and Thirunjana Sambandar, thirunAvukkarasar is older, and thirunAvukkarasar was the first to sing thevaram songs. But in the list of acharyas, Thirunjana Sambandar is placed first, and his songs are placed first in thevaram collection. So that is the gist of thirunAvukkarasar's story. And if you have any comments, thoughts, questions, we can talk.
Oh, very interesting story. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
That's
true. This is, obviously I'm giving an overview, and I may have skipped a few incidents here and there, but this is it's a very it's a wonderful thing. The way they how it happened.
Yeah.
All these things happened. These are not Puranas. Like we don't know whether it's this happened in that kalpam, this yugam. They're not saying this has happened 1500 years ago.
right.
That is the difference. Good. So that we can conclude today's session, and next week we can continue with the other stories of the verse 4. Tiruchitrambalam.